The Vlog Squad has been a big topic of conversation recently after Jason Nash released the roast of Zayn Hijazi. Jason has been putting on these roasts for a while now, but this one in particular got a lot more backlash because people were actually just so shook by some of the jokes that were said. It's no secret the Vlog Squad hasn't been the same compared to the other years. Everyone is off kind of doing their own thing, their own podcast, since David isn't vlogging anymore. And there's been a lot of members who don't associate with each other anymore, not a part of the group. But this roast kind of left people feeling like even the members that are left don't like each other. And they were finally getting the chance to get something off their chest at this roast, especially when it came to jokes about Heath.
Cast of Unfiltered is here. You know, it's funny that the show's called Unfiltered when they have to filter out Heath's racism every episode.
Our first roaster is so old he remembers segregation, which is something Heath asks about him every day. Please welcome Jason Nash.
Mariah, you were so sweet to me. You treat me like family every time I come out to LA. I can't believe you're still with that racist.
Zayn, you're a lot like Donald Trump. You're delusional, you have bad hair, and your best friend's a racist.
Sorry about this. Heath is so racist, he and Mariah take a break from their relationship every summer because she gets a little too tan. So...
Buddy, I love you. It is so nice of you to be here and take a break from patrolling the border. Thank God Heath finally got in shape. Congrats, Heath. Really, truly. Unfortunately, though, it's going to be a lot of work for Mariah, who has to knit a much smaller clan outfit.
Everybody felt like, oh wow, this is the moment everybody has been waiting for, just getting everything out there. Nearly every single person came up and called Heath a racist, and this is what actually shocked viewers. Because in order for a joke to land, it kind of has to have some truth to it, and every time they would say a joke about Heath being racist, the whole room would just crack up. Meanwhile, all the viewers at home pretty much, I mean, when you look at the comment section, was like, wait, what are you talking about? Like, we're not laughing, we have some questions, actually. People felt like there had to be truth in those jokes that they were saying, and they were obviously reading into things. And of course, this is a roast, and that means, oh hey, like we're joking here, and the Vlog Squad is known for making fun of each other, but this wasn't like the other times where the group was body shaming each other and stuff like that. I mean, there were jokes like that at the roast, but the ones about Heath were not feeling like those jokes. These were feeling a little serious. Now, most of the Vlog Squad members have stayed rather quiet ever since the roast, but Matt King decided to brave the commentary on the subject, and on an episode of Who and a Half, which is his podcast with Mike Schaefer, they decided to talk about the conversation that has started. Now, if you guys don't know Mike or Matt, Matt was on stage hosting this night, and Mike helped write some of the jokes. Matt seemed shocked by the response the roast got and the fact that people were reading into things, while Mike felt like this happens every time there's a roast, which there always seems to be something to talk about after one of these roasts. But this one seemed to just be getting a little bit more attention than usual because I think they went harder on each other this time.
And it's been like some backlash about it too, where people are
like that every year, every time.
People are really picking it apart, thinking, oh, they're trying to say something with this. But it's like, yo, have y'all watched any professional roasts ever?
It's just exaggerating, sometimes absolute nonsense and sometimes things that are real. But yeah, this was not a coded language of like, hey, everyone, we're trying to communicate.
Yeah, and a lot of people think like, oh man, Matt really needed to get off of his chest.
Like what?
I am just having fun.
Matt tried to explain that the jokes were written by other people and the jokes weren't that personal to each individual that was telling the joke because a lot of them just got on stage and read the paper of jokes that were written for them and acknowledged the fact that some of the jokes were kind of similar, which is definitely his way of for sure saying that everybody got on stage and called Heath a racist.
And I think what another thing was is like maybe some jokes were like plucking on the same string because other people were saying different renditions of that joke. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Also, a lot of my jokes were not written by me. I'm not even putting blame on that, but it is a collective group of fun.
They try to say that the group is always making fun of each other and this is nothing new for them, and it's just weird how there's suddenly drama over it.
Nobody's seen any of our videos. Like, all this entire group does is rip on each other in every video. Like, that's everything. That's the whole thing, is it's all.
But some people have been just some deep analysis into it, and now there's drama because of the roast. we've all had a pretty good sense of humor about it.
Yeah.
I wasn't offended by any jokes that were written by me. If anything, I love my jokes. I almost kind of want to listen to them again.
People did not take well to what was said in the comments, feeling like this roast was very different than the others. These jokes were a lot more serious than they've ever been before, and of course people were going to question it. And so people commented and said things like, Matt's Rotten Tomato joke is nowhere near the same as Heath's needing a smaller clan outfit joke. I don't understand how you can dismiss people's concerns like this. I admire you guys, but be serious, please. If every single person jokes Heath is a racist, what are we supposed to infer? People are disappointed because the jokes can show people's true colors. If everyone gets on stage and says that Heath is racist, it seems to cross the line of being a joke into being truth. As someone who regularly watched the Unfiltered podcast, I do not want to support someone who is known as a racist among his friend group. This is just my opinion and why I was upset with the roast. I am upset that I supported people, the Unfiltered podcast, who don't hold each other accountable. Nah, you can't put all the drama on your fans. You know your fan base and that it's not the type to handle the roast the same as a general audience with a Justin Bieber roast. It's great you guys want to do roast for your own interest, but throwing that hot potato at the Vlog Squad audience, it's kind of obvious it's going to stir up. When every single person makes a joke about someone being racist, there's obviously truth to it. LOL, love you guys, but let's be serious. If your closest friends are joking about how you're racist, how is the general public supposed to take it when they support you? It's distasteful for the friend group to even be supportive of someone who's racist, let alone make jokes about it and post it publicly. True colors were definitely shown through this, whether they want to admit it or not. Was a fan of the Unfiltered podcast and supported their coffee company also. Super sad, but letting those things fly is not okay. Even if it was just a couple of jokes with the buddies, it makes people question what is happening when the cameras are off. Clearly people are upset that these two are acting like it's wild that people would respond the way that they have been or question some of these jokes in the roast. Especially when a lot of the other things that were said didn't really feel like a joke and were actually for real. Like the Aaron wedding jokes. We know that Zayn, Heath, and Mariah did not go to Aaron's wedding. They were not seen in any of the photos, and they no longer associate with Aaron and Carly. And people have been wondering for a very long time, why, what happened, and I talked about this when I covered the roast, that we found out what the heck happened and why they didn't go to her wedding at the roast.
Zayn is really stubborn. He once ended a 10-year-long friendship by refusing to take a COVID test.
We all know how difficult it is for Heath to commit to actually going to a wedding, but Erin sends her regards, by the way. Anyways, thank you guys so much.
And people were really reading into the situation. First of all, they were just disappointed that Zayn didn't want to take a COVID test in order to go to a wedding. They felt like that was the least he could have done if he wasn't going to be vaccinated or anything like that, especially with a lot of her family coming in and she was taking COVID very seriously and her venue is requiring it. I just feel like people were like, that's the least you could have done. And there were a lot of jokes that night about Zayn being a follower. He just kind of follows the leader. And in terms of Aaron's wedding, people felt like originally she was saying they needed to be vaccinated in order to go to the wedding, but then maybe she was trying to compromise with them and said, okay, well, maybe you guys could just get tested before the wedding. And people in the comments were maybe thinking that they were just offended at that point and didn't want to go anymore and they didn't want to get tested at all, and they would have rather thrown away this very long 10-year friendship instead of taking a test to protect her friends and family. But yeah, that's what people were looking into, and I think them telling a joke about that obviously opened the floor for people to judge whether or not they liked that Heath and Zayn did that, and that's the reason why they let a friendship go. And then you add in all the other stuff, and I definitely see how this is a controversial roast. But Matt and Mike were definitely feeling like this was just the same as the other times. Although they did mention that someone did walk out of the roast. They didn't say who it was, but they claimed that someone seemed like they couldn't handle the joke that was told about them. And the timing of them leaving was very close to when their joke had been told. So they felt like this person was a little bit offended about what was said, and they thought it was kind of ridiculous. Like, oh, we should be able to handle these jokes.
But it's good. But man, that roast though was intense. Some people walked out. Do you remember that?
I remember one person claims.
I wish I could say who walked out at the roast.
But what I was told is that this person didn't walk out because of the jokes. What I heard after the fact, because this person ended up coming back after, when the roast was over.
After
and
they finished crying out on the streets.
I don't know, but what I was told, not by this person, but indirectly, was that person left to go like take care of an errand, and it wasn't that they walked out because they were mad at the roast. But I don't know. It was like pretty specific when they walked out, but they came back in after, and I saw them, and it was fine. So I don't know.
Hey, take a joke.
Yeah.
Take a joke.
Now, I have no clue who it could have been, honestly. I really wonder who didn't like what was said about them. It certainly wasn't anyone sitting on the stage, I know that, because they were all there the entire time. But whether the Vlog Squad wants to say that these were just silly little harmless jokes that nobody should read into, people did, and people have questions. They're certainly questioning who they've been supporting and if they should continue. That is for sure. But that is what has been said by some Vlog Squad members in regards to the roast. Heath and Zane haven't addressed it on their recent podcast, and they probably won't, I'd say. But let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. I love you guys so much, and I will talk to you in the next video. Bye, guys.